Hello friends and welcome back. I'm Bobbie and today is Wednesday. So that means we're going to do a new episode of Weird History You Never Knew You Need to Know. Today we're going to talk about UFOs. I think people have always found the topic of aliens and UFOs really interesting, and it's something that people always want to know more about. Right now it's in the news like crazy. There are the hearings in Congress that are going on regarding UFOs and aliens and the UFO whistleblower. There was also recently a news story that came out of Las Vegas of a potential UFO crash and a family maybe even seeing some beings from another planet. And these were backed up by police body cam, Ring doorbell footage.
I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us.
Other members of the man's family also reported seeing the creatures, and an investigation by Nexstar station KLAS uncovered an extraordinary sequence of events from around midnight on May 1st.
I'm so nervous right now.
Just minutes before the 911 call, the body cam of a Las Vegas police officer had captured this, something falling from the sky. That added eerie context for the officer who responded to the 911 call.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious.
Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
What would you say if I told you that over 125 years ago, there was a newspaper story that came out of Aurora, Texas, that reported a UFO crashing and the remains of an alien being found? Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. This is a story that I don't think gets enough attention, and this one has always captivated me. And it's amazing to me when I share this story how many people have never heard of it. So let me share it with you so that you're in the know. So in the early morning of April 17th, 1897 in Aurora, Texas, something very weird happened. According to legend, and backed up by a historical marker, a cigar-shaped airship was seen floating and hovering in the sky above Aurora, Texas. This unknown spacecraft was then seen falling from the sky and crashing into a windmill on a farm that belonged to a local judge named J.S. Proctor. The local townspeople went out to examine what had happened, and they report that they found the remains of a deceased being that they quote as being not of this world. The townspeople felt that it was only right to give this being a proper Christian burial, and so they buried it in the town cemetery. The marker was just a simple headstone with the shape of the spacecraft engraved into it to mark the site. This being that was recovered and buried in Texas, the townspeople now refer to it lovingly as Ned. In 2018, the grave marker that marked the grave of Ned was actually stolen, and people were offering rewards for it, but I do not believe that it was ever recovered. While I was reading this and researching it, I thought, okay, if they know where the body is buried, why don't they just exhume the body and do an autopsy or examine it and kind of put the rumors to rest? Is there really an alien buried in this land? However, what I found in my research was that you cannot legally exhume a body without permission from next of kin. Because there's no next of kin, they will not exhume the body. Does this seem weird to any of you as well? In 1972, the cemetery where the remains are buried actually went to court and got a court injunction prohibiting anyone from exhuming the remains. There was a newspaper article written in the Dallas Morning News reporting what happened, reporting that there was a crash and reporting that the body was buried. This news article still exists. If you Google this, you will find it. Excerpts from the article include this following information I want to read to you guys. About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship which has been sailing around the country. It was traveling due north and much nearer the earth than before. Evidently, some of the machinery was out of order, for it was making a speed of only 10 or 12 miles an hour and gradually settling toward the earth. It sailed over the public square, and when it reached the north part of town, it collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went into pieces with a terrific explosion, scattering debris over several acres of ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank and destroying the judge's flower garden. The pilot of the ship is supposed to have been the only one aboard, and while his remains were badly disfigured, enough of the original has been picked up to show that he was not an inhabitant of this world. In doing my research on this, I came across some other articles too that were the initial reportings of the 1947 Roswell, New Mexico incident. The initial reports of Roswell were very similar to these initial reports at Aurora. The only difference was that with Roswell, the reports went out, but then the government came in and all of a sudden everybody's stories changed and it was all of a sudden a weather balloon. I researched weather balloons in 1947 to see what they would look like. I will include some photos of what I found, but I do not know how you could mistake a weather balloon for a UFO. If perhaps you saw it floating in the sky, then there may be more of an argument that somebody mistook a weather balloon for a UFO, but we're talking about debris that was on the ground, debris that they could look at. And they looked at this debris, and at no point did they say this is a weather balloon until the government showed up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not someone who sits around my house in like a tinfoil hat or anything, but I do find that it's really, really interesting that we have all of these stories from older times where this was a fairly common occurrence. You would see news stories about these types of things and people would report it in the paper and it would kind of be like not a big thing. I don't think that the tides really changed until 1947, until Roswell. And that's when everything kind of became like this very hush-hush, big secret, like, oh no, that's not what's happening here. But I think everyone kind of knows, yeah. It's so funny because with all of the congressional hearings that they have right now about UFOs and what's going on, people don't seem that shook up. People don't seem surprised. It's not this like big thing on the news. I think that people have just kind of figured out that, yeah, this probably exists. I mean, it's just incredible to think about the size of our universe and how big it is and think that we are the only intelligent life forms that exist. That's crazy to think that. There's, I mean, just if you look at the possibilities and the odds and the statistics, there have to be other life forms out there. I think historically it wasn't as like hush hush as it is now. I think that this stuff happened and people kind of knew it was a thing and it wasn't really, it was like worthy of a newspaper story and that was really it. And then people just went on with their lives. So I'm curious to know, what do you guys think about all of this? Have you seen this article? I'm going to link the article down below so that you can actually read it yourself. As always, you guys, this is just my opinion. It's just the research that I've done. Question everything you hear, even things I tell you, and do your own research. It's really, really important that you do your own research. Never trust what you're told, especially on the internet, guys. So what do you think of this? Have you heard the story? Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? I want to know what you guys think about this. I find this stuff so interesting, and I would absolutely love to have a discussion on if you think that this is real or not, if you think that this actually occurred. And if you provide the argument that no, you didn't think that it happened, then I want also to hear from you your explanation of the newspaper story. Then who wrote the newspaper story? Why was it published? I would really like to dig into this more. If you like this video and you like this kind of content, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out. It is a free way for you to help out my channel. Also, please share this video. I would like to get this information out to as many people as possible because I think it's fascinating. And I think if people found this, they would be really interested in it. If you have not already subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to be notified whenever I upload new videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys next Wednesday for another episode of Weird History You Never Knew You Need to Know. Bye.